Yeah, good morning to all, dear students. In this session 1 in paper 7, we will study some aspects from unit 1, nature and nurture. In the seventh paper includes genetics and evolution. In the first unit, when we study genetics, we have to understand how a gene is expressed and how it is inherited from one generation to another generation, and in an individual species or organism, how the gene works to express a character and how it is nurtured or supported by the environmental condition. What is the influence of environment on the genetic makeup of a species or an individual organism? And to begin with, we have few definitions. What is phenotype, what is genotype, and what is genetics actually. We will have the study define what how you define genetics. Genetics is study of inheritance and variation. Inheritance of characters from one generation to the next generation is known as uh, is commonly seen in all the sexually reproducing individuals. From parents, the gametes fuse, the fertilized zygote gives rise to the younger one. So during the course of reproduction, sexual reproduction, there is variation as well as transfer of characters from one generation to another generation. This is what we study in inheritance. And variation is the difference that is shown in the young offspring from that of the parent. So this variation is caused by crossing over, which we have studied in our fifth semester. And all these are included in genetics, transfer of characters, how there occurs variation, and for expression of a genotype into a phenotype, what is the role of environment. So nature means the genotype of an organism, and expression of that genotype is nurtured by the environment or influenced by the environment. That is how we that is what we call nature and nurture. Nurture means nourishing. Nature means genotype. When we nourish a particular genotype, that character is expressed according to the nourishment that is provided to that particular genotype. So for to study this, we have few examples. And so here in this slide we have definition. The interaction between genotype and environment is studied as nature and nurture. We can find common examples in majority of the textbooks, which is the classical experiment done by using a white or sticky foil of USA, which is done to prove the formation or phenotypic expression of different ecotypes in different climatic conditions using a plant of Rosaceae family, which is Potentilla glandulosa, or the latest name is Drymocolis glandulosa. So this species of plant is one classical example to understand the influence of environmental conditions on the expression of a particular genotype into a phenotype. Genotype means the total genetic complement of an individual. Phenotype is the character which is expressed or form which is formed, structure that is formed or protein that is synthesized from a genotype that gives a feature or a particular shape form to an organism, that is phenotype. So this experiment with the Potentilla glandulosa proves formation of different morphological form in different climatic condition, even though the same species is grown in different climatic conditions. So that is one example we will be studying. And another example we will be dealing with is Himalayan rabbit, how the temperature condition synthesizes a particular protein which gives black pigment to the tip of structures of Himalayan rabbit. And one more third example is twin study. Twins are born due to different causes, and the twins which are who are grown in different environmental conditions show different nature. So in this session, we will be understanding some aspects of experiment with Potentilla glandulosa. Here we have the picture of Potentilla glandulosa, which is a plant. It is found in USA in different climatic conditions. There are the species has two ecotypes, 2 to 3 ecotypes, which is one is grown in the sea level, another in the Mediterranean climatic condition, another in the alpine conditions. So three ecotypes when planted in the same conditions of environment, and they show different forms or morphological structure. And this is studied by Clausen, Keck and Eastley, and their studies of the clonal plants during 1930s and 40s are very famous to demonstrate the ecotypic variation. Ecotype means the phenotype that are produced in different ecological conditions of the nature. They studied the nature nurture problem, and they understood there is influence of the environment on the genotype to get it expressed. And this plant is perennial plant, and it is found in western USA, and it is highly variable, and there are many varieties and subspecies also. So it is useful for understanding. They used it for understanding the expression on formation of ecotypes, and they have studied two populations of the plant which have strongly contrasting abilities to seasonally modify their phenotypic sensitivity to drought or temperature conditions by low temperature induced changes in leaf morphology. One population which is native to inland continental climate, and it is this environmental condition has unpredictable drought occurring at any time. So these plants are adapted to such drought conditions. And the second type of plants are native to coastal Mediterranean climate, where there is annual cycle of winter rain and summer. Whenever these plants, all the three climatic conditions were used to grow same plant species, where they have planted three cuttings from the three varieties of plants which have common genome chromosome number 7. They belong to same species, but they have adaptability to grow in different climatic conditions, either in sea level or in 4005 feet alpine condition or hill stations, or even in the topmost 10,000 feet height. And in this table we find the alpine race when it cut three cuttings from alpine race were grown in sea level as well as in on 4,500 feet height and also in 10,000 feet height. When this alpine race is grown in sea level, they showed stunted growth, and when they have grown in height of 4005, they showed moderate growth, and even beyond the height they showed stunted growth. Then these mid altitude rays, when grown in sea level, they showed moderate growth. In mid altitude level, when they have grown, showed good growth. In height they showed poor growth. Similarly, the coastal race, they made three cuttings and grown in all the three high elevations, and the sea level ecotype has shown good growth in sea level and fair growth in mid alpine, and died totally in the highest peak of the mountains. And here in this graph or bar diagram, we have the plant height and number of flowers that are produced per plant in different climatic condition. In the chart, first one, we show the lowland. See, there are three varieties or ecotypes of this Potentilla glandulosa plant, and the blue color displays lowland plant ecotype, and the orange one shows mid elevation plant, and the gray one the alpine plant. Alpine means which are hill station ecotypes. All the three were planted in all the three climatic conditions, And in lowland, the blue one, which is lowland plant, has high moderate height, and the mid elevation has shown good plant height, and the other one showed moderate. So in mid elevation plant has shown the plant, see the comparison of the three varieties of plant in three different climatic conditions. Nature of the climate nurtured their growth variously, even though the genotype is same. And similarly, the flower per plant, number of flowers produced also counts for expression of the gene. So when we compare the three varieties, the alpine variety in around 30,000 50-meter height totally shown lesser, see, lesser flowering, all the three shown lesser flowering. Similarly, the comparison shows that the sea blue and lowland plant totally showed no plant flowering at all. So this kind of growth response of potentiala glandulosa in different climatic conditions shows that nature influences the growth, flowering, and expression of genes in all the organisms. Here we have an example of potential glandulosa, and we have can find the details of this experiment, and in certain books, textbooks like Gardner or General Genetic Textbook, and certain papers were published in 1978, and based on the studies by breeding experiments on different ecotypes which have the common genotypes, and show different phenotype. And this is one example for nature nurtures the expression of gene. So we will have two more examples in another session, and Himalayan rabbit and twin study will give more highlights how a particular genotype get expressed based on the nourishment it is provided. And common example around us also we can find, if you put a seed in same kind lot of seeds in two different pots and nourish one of the seed well with water and fertilizer, don't do the same treatment for the other. The one which is nourished well will yield good product, the other one will be dying or it will become weak. So this is what compare, how the nature nourishes. Nature is nourished by the environment. Nature is influenced by the environment. So how the environment nurtures nature, the expression of a particular ability of a genotype to get expressed, it will be suppressed if it do not get the nourishment or the environmental condition suitable to express that particular genotype. This is what we have to study in, we are studying in nature and nurture. So nature is the genotype, nurture is the environmental condition which we provide. So once again, we will recall the definition. The interaction between genotype and environment is studied in nature and nurture. And you can go through the study material, and I will also provide certain MCQs, and we will find two more examples in the next session. Thank you all.